All right, so guys, let's begin. So last lecture we had discussed about exception and exception handling concept. Then I talked about the types of exceptions that we have got. Okay, what is compile time, what is run time, this all we have discussed about. But now importantly, let's look at exception class hierarchy. Okay, so we are going to now understand the exception class hierarchy that we have got. Now this is a very important interview topic, and definitely you can expect in lot of interviews where they'll ask you, can you please give me exception
अरे
class
मम्मी
hierarchy? So let's
जाओ
understand this now quickly. I think I have a diagram here on the desktop
तुम जाओ हम आते हैं
where I had saved it, the previous batch. Let me just see here. No, not this one. Huh. So I have that diagram here. We'll try to understand this now clearly. Okay. So how these classes are organized, guys. So these are all built-in classes already available in Java. Now the supermost class in exception that you see is called as throwable. What is a supermost class? Throwable. So you can just go to your IDE, any IDE, need not be necessary only IntelliJ, any IDE you can, okay, open that up and then just create one Java class the way I have done that here and write down the exception class name. Let's write here throwable. Then you press the control key and this will become a link. When you click on that, the class will open up. Fine. So if you observe here, you notice that throwable is the supermost class in your exception concept. Now, the child class of this, see how they have organized it is, the child class of this is called as exception class. So if I now further go here and if I now type here exception, if I now type here exception, you see that exception is a child class of throwable. Now see, compile time checking of exceptions. What it says is compile time checking. Now what do you mean by that? Any class that is basically a child class of exception, they all come under compile time exception category, right? Any child class of exception, okay, will come under the category compile time, which means these exceptions will occur only when your .java file is converted to a .class file. Now this is the phase when this exception is going to occur. Did you understand this point now? So tell me, we started with throwable. Exception is a child class of what? Exception is a child class of what? Throwable, right? Now any class that is child of exception, any class that is a child of exception, that will be now coming under the category checked or compile time exception. Observe here. If you now go here, open the next class that you see here as per the diagram, IO exception. So if you go here and type IO exception, if you now open this up, observe here, you notice that IO exception is a child of exception. So this will also come under compile time. This exception will occur during the compilation of your program. Sir, when will this exception occur? I will all discuss in the further classes. We're just understanding the structure of classes, how it is organized. That is what we are discussing about. Is this clear? Everyone? Okay, good. Now you notice further, if you come here, this IO exception has again a child class, file not found, which means ultimately file not found is a child of, so that again comes under checked exception only. But if you want, you can do this here. You can type file not found exception. It is child class of, and IO is ultimately child of, which means observe here, what we are trying to tell is all of these exceptions that you see here are getting inherited from your exception class. Now anything that directly extends exception class, then they all come under checked exception. They all come under what exception? Compile time exception. How many classes we have seen so far? How many classes we have seen so far? How many classes seen? Repeat everything. You have to remember this diagram, because in interview you'll have to remember this. Interviews are different. Practical working is different. This is interview concept. So you have to remember this concept. Okay. Now let's continue here further. Observe now. SQL exception. It is a child class of exception class. Now observe here. If you now just go here and type SQL exception. Okay. Open this up. It is a child class of. So this comes under what category? Compile time. Checked exception. Throwable exception class. IO exception. File not found. Then throwable exception class. SQL exception. Correct? Again comes under checked exception, compile time exception. Now let us proceed further. We have SQL non-transient exception. So let's go back here. Let's just type here SQL non-transient exception. Open this up. It's a child class of, and this is child class of, which means ultimately it falls under the category checked exception. Correct? Now you come here, the next one, what is that? Under SQL non-transient, what do you see? SQL syntax error exception. So let's go here, SQL syntax error exception, open that up. Child class of transient, open that up. It's a child class of, and SQL is a child class of. So ultimately, what is the category it would come under? Huh? It comes under compile time or checked exception. Okay. Next, clone not supported exception. So we're going to type here clone not supported exception. Open that up. Now I want you to just see this part of the diagram and try to see whether you are able to remember that or not. Okay. I want you people to do this. Everyone, are you clear with this part? Now observe the next thing. Now we'll look at runtime exceptions. How do we classify which classes comes under runtime? So what they did in Java, they came up with a separate class called as runtime. Okay. Now this runtime exception is a child of exception. Can you see that? But any class, if it is a child of runtime exception, it will come under what exception category? So you see that runtime exception and its subclasses are unchecked exceptions. Now this is the official note by the Java people who developed these classes. We have not developed it. What are they telling? Runtime exception and its subclasses are unchecked exceptions. So let's go here and see that. And here same way you can see that the class exception and any subclasses that are not also subclass of runtime are, which means the subclasses directly of exception are other than runtime. Other than runtime. Understand this point clearly. So here runtime, exception and its child classes are unchecked exception or runtime, and exception class and its subclasses other than this are compile time. So let's see this here. Now the first exception that we will see here is arithmetic exception. So let's type here arithmetic exception. Open this up. Child class of what? So what kind of exception this will be? Unchecked or runtime. So this will occur. When this will occur? When will this occur? When you run the dot class file. Are you understanding? When you run the dot class file, this exception will occur. Okay. Now let's see this here. Which is the next one? Observe. Now we have index out of bounds exception. So let's type here index out of bounds exception. Open this up. So this will indirectly become runtime exception, unchecked exception, right? So far we have covered arithmetic, index out of bound exception, its child classes, array index out of bound exception. So array index out of bounds exception. Open that up. Child class of, and this is child class of. Did you understand now? So please observe. Okay, now we have illegal argument exception. Illegal argument exception. Let's see that here. So let's go here and type illegal argument exception. Open this up. Child class of. So what is the category it will come under? This will come under the category unchecked. Number format is a child class of, and illegal is a child class of. Let's see this here. Number format exception. Number format exception. Let's open that up. And this is, so again, what category? Unchecked exception. Now we have null pointer. Did you understand? So let's see this here. The next one we have here is null pointer exception. Did you understand how we classified this now? Then we have class cast exception. Class child class of. Now I want you people to observe this diagram, understand this diagram, and you have to remember this. They'll ask in interview, what are exceptions? How do you handle exceptions? What are the types of exceptions we can see in Java? Give me the class hierarchy of exception. They'll ask this. Okay? Throwable, exception, runtime. Keep this thing in mind. Okay? And then after exception, what comes? That you have to keep it in mind. And what comes after runtime? 5-6 times if you practice, you will start remembering this. But now throwable also has one more child class called as error. We'll discuss about that later. Okay, we'll not talk about that now. We'll discuss about that later. Okay, just see the diagram. If yes, then we'll start with these exception classes one by one in detailed manner. We'll understand this in a depth manner. Okay, see the diagram, understand, analyze. See, when you do hard work, nothing is impossible. But whatever we are teaching you, you keep studying, you will get through, get placed. Problem is with such students where they're not serious and they're still in that, easy go mode. So what happens is you have not built the roadmap even now. A serious student, see, when you're serious about something, you will definitely, not be able to think anything else other than what you have to do 80%. 20% other things you will be thinking, but 80% your thought will be only on, right, what I have to do in order to be successful, in order to get a job. So they will also lose their sleep. I've seen certain students, they'll not be able to sleep because in their mind only that is going on. Study, 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 learn, 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 acquire knowledge. That's the only thing going on. While other students are still in their happy go mood. They're still in their college attitude. How college 4 years passed on, enjoying, doing time pass, things like that, throwing rockets. So that lifestyle has not changed yet. अब ठोकर तो खा लिया है, जॉब मिला नहीं है, अभी भी अगर सीरियस नहीं हो तो इस बार का ठोकर जब खाओगे सिर्फ गिरोगे नहीं, डायरेक्ट खाई में गिरोगे, और ऐसे खाई में गिरोगे कि चौराही पे आपका फोटो लगा मिलेगा with one garland and two agarbattis, because life will be like that. So this is a very serious journey, students. Don't take this in a light manner, right? So to become perfect, same thing you have to keep doing it repeatedly, then only a person can become perfect with what he's doing. Which means it is not one time understanding the class and feeling happy, oh yeah, I got it, I understood. You have to become perfect in such a way that you present it in an excellent manner in the interview. So understanding, presenting it, your speaking skills, your approach of reaching out the people, everything has to change. So this is not an easy journey, but one was put in his mind that I will definitely do this. He will have sleepless nights. He will not be able to sleep. And when he's sleeping also, in half of his mind only Java will be going on. And that will wake him up. And why I'm telling this is because this was my journey. When I was a student, I used to have sleepless nights. And whenever I want to do something, when I'm starting something new projects, definitely what happens is I have sleepless nights and I enjoy that. Because I'm putting my thought towards some creative thinking. I'm not wasting my mind. I'm not wasting my life as a human being. So how many people are having that sleepless nights? And if you're able to sleep very nicely like a bakasura, which means you're still least bothered of your life. This phase of life has to be sleepless night. You will calm down. You will talk less. You will not interact much. You are just within yourself. So this is the sign of basically you guaranteed you will improvise. Yeah? You're very less talking. You're just within yourself. And once you're within yourself and thinking only about this, you have started excelling without your knowledge. I don't know how many people are actually experiencing that. Right? See, even today, earlier it was Java. Earlier it was Java with me. Right? So I used to think only about Java. But even today I have not changed. Could be the project is something else. But at times in a month, yeah, 1 or 2 days or 3 days, I will have my thought process into that. How do I make this best? Right? See, for example, if I hand over my property on rent to someone, example, I always keep it in mind. How do I make it best and give it to them? Because it's a benefit for both of us. I get higher rental yield than any other person, right? And second, the person using that also is quite happy and is, enjoying staying there, right? So I keep thinking that how do we do it? So see, some people are kind of still, that mindset, सिर्फ job लेना है. That is just the beginning of your life. Job लेना है. Job लेने के बाद आगे जर्नी बहुत लंबा जाने वाला है. So सिर्फ job लेना is not the solution. The seriousness, 6-7 hours studying, excelling in the technology, then you see you will definitely excel. Like some students of mine are outside India, US, UK, and things like that. So please be serious. Let's not address these things again. I don't want even a single minute in the class people seeing here and there, because still they're not serious and they will have this trouble of being successful at the end. When someone else gets a job, that pain will put them so badly down that that time they will not be able to recover. And I've seen this literally. See, just few days back, I met one of the students, some 6, 7 friends of his, all of them placed, he was all alone. He's fully demotivated, disappointed, he does not know what to do now. Right? And now, when he's all alone, right now you're all in group, so you're not feeling that pain. Think about you 3 people, 2 people got job and you left all alone. Now what? Now you're calling yourself so called as good friends, so called as basically like my best friends. But when 2 people get job and one doesn't get job in that, what will you do? That time you will tell, she is not my friend, he is not my friend. This is what will happen. When she was with me, she was talking to me. After getting job on Sweet Box also, she did not give me. This is not my words. These are the students' words that comes to me in pain and they talk to me individually. And I'm not interested to waste my precious time giving you these advices. But a seriousness in life, the 6.5 months, being within yourself, protecting yourself from distractions. Okay, when we put a seed, okay, that will grow into a small plant, right? If you don't put a fence around it, what will happen? A cow will come and eat, some other animal will come and basically disturb. But if you put a fence around it, nobody can disturb. You have to put a fence around your brain so that no distractions enters your mind. And the day you make your mind so stable, you will see that whatever goal you have, you will definitely achieve. And if you don't do that, you're just surrounded with distractions. Right now you're all too young, you're just starting off, you're too young, you might not have that proper meaning of what sir is trying to tell. But I'm sure when you start growing, when you start working, you'll start understanding this what I'm talking about. Could be some people are not that matured enough to understand this, they're still in their mood that अरे क्लास ज्वाइन कर लेंगे, पढ़ लेंगे, जॉब ले लेंगे. जॉब लेने के बाद लगता है सैलरी कम है, फिर जॉब चेंज करोगे, बोलोगे जॉब ही नहीं करना है. So life is very different. Now it is like job. I've got so many students. After 1 year they come and ask me, sir salary कैसे बढ़ा है? After salary is increased, sir India के बाहर कैसे जाए? But for that you have to be well prepared to face these things. Just cracking a job and getting inside the company and having no progress further is also a dead end. Yes or no? After joining the company, a good progress should keep on happening. Anyways, let's come back and let's now look at further things now. Now, guys, we I'll talk about that peer up app and all. Now, we have talked about the class hierarchy. We have talked about the architecture of your exception classes. Yes or no? So now we are going to talk about the very first class called as arithmetic exception class. Okay? Arithmetic exception class, what it does. Let's see this here. So I'm going to go back here and firstly, I'm going to create a program which is going to throw one arithmetic exception. And after this, if I try to print something, it will not print. Okay, it will not print. Exception occurs and stops here. So what they did, they designed a specific class that if any invalid mathematical operations are performed, any invalid arithmetical operations are performed. And in such cases, let's say you're designing some formula for calculating LIC policy premium or your health insurance premium, correct? Now based on your age, your what all health problems you have, probably you want to take one health policy and you want to now calculate the premium. So that is all involved with the mathematical formula, yes or no? Correct? So in such cases, such mathematical formulas, when you are putting out there in your programs, and if that throws an exception, if that creates an exception, to handle that, they have created one specific class called as arithmetic exception class. So if I now run this, observe, when I do this now, observe, I see here an exception occurred, arithmetic exception, and that's at line 19. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this up. I will now surround this with a try and a catch block. But in the catch block, guys, I will specifically use arithmetic exception class E. And now let's open the curly braces and see this here. Now when I run the program, what is happening? Is welcome printed? Can you see that here? Exception occurred, but arithmetic exception handled that. So please read the definition loudly. Please read this. Correct, no? Now when you scroll down, you see that same example taken. We'll take one more example with a percentage operator. Now the percentage operator gives you the reminder. If I now divide this by 2, I'll get answer as 5. But if I now use a percentage operator, right, then what this will do, 10 divided by 2, it will give me the reminder. What is the reminder? 0. 11 divided by 2, what is the reminder? The reminder is 1. So let us run this. And now when I run this, observe here what's happening. Okay, so what does that have done here? The y value got deleted by me accidentally, right? So now let me put that 2 back here and observe now. Right click, run. Now observe, what is it giving me here? Reminder. But now suppose I try to find 11 divided by 0 reminder, again arithmetic exception, yes or no? So we are handling this and this is going to print welcome. Okay, everybody got this now? I'm taking at the basic level right now. The real implementation of exceptions only in projects it will get over. More clarity you will get only during the project classes. Now you will not get full clarity of Java. Okay, full Java understanding will happen when you start learning advanced programming, web development, Spring Boot and Hibernate. That's where you will get a proper exposure to Java. Okay, let's continue further. Now the next thing we are going to see here is this, called as null pointer exception. So when will this exception occur? So let's see this here now. Whenever you have a null reference variable, okay, let's type here int x is equal to 10. Static or non-static variable? Non-static. A1 is equal to null. What is present in A1? Null value. Now A1 does not have the object's address. What does A1 holds? It holds null value. Now when you print A1.x, observe here, with a null value when you are printing x, it is going to print null pointer exception. What exception do you see here? When are we getting null pointer exception? When with a null reference variable, you're accessing a non-static variable, we will get a null pointer exception. Are you understanding, everyone? Yes? Okay. So now what I'll do, I will surround this in a try-catch block. And this time, there is a specific class given to handle this. And that class is called as null pointer exception. This variable name can be anything. This is your choice. But now this exception that is thrown, I will print at which line this has occurred, and once the exception is handled, it will continue further and print what? Welcome. So right click, run as a.main. And now when I do this, observe, it is throwing an exception, but because it is handled, it is printing what? Welcome. So can you just go back here?
बगल वाला ओकर नीचा वाला
Quickly.
ओकर नीचा वाला हाँ छोड़ दे that. 5 मिनट के
Okay,
बाद
everyone. Yeah. Now scroll down. Observe. Fine. Now let me ask you a simple question here. What if I make this a static? Will it give null pointer exception? See, that's what I'm telling you. If you're good with your basics, we'll answer this topic. What will happen to a1.x now? It will get converted to, correct, no? You cannot access with a reference variable static. So this will be replaced with what? It will be replaced with capital A dot x. So obviously, if it is replaced with capital A dot x, it will print what? 10. Did you understand? Everyone? Did you get this point? Read this here, you'll understand. Firstly, see this example. This is static. I'm accessing with reference, which is wrong. If you access with reference, Java will automatically replace A1 with capital A. And because of that, program will work. I mentioned this earlier. Correct? I've talked about this point earlier. So I think you already have covered unary operators and data types and typecasting. This assignment is done. Okay. Default constructor has also been covered. We've taken all the examples. So next we are going to talk about wrapper classes in our coming series of lecture, and we will discuss more about exception concepts. Today's class clear? Everyone? Practice. People having communication skills problem, you have to start working on it. Okay? You have to form a group, you have to pick the notes and start training your friends on the same topics that I am teaching you. Second, there is a PeerUp app which I've mentioned. Start using that app and work on improving your communication skills. At least to an extent that we can explain the topics well in interview. Everyone. Okay, might be some people are not from Bangalore, they come from rural places and we are used to speaking in Kannada, used to speaking in Hindi, used to speaking in their regional languages, and because of that they always have this phobia of how do I present my topic. So start doing that. At least in the next 6 months you'll be in a position how to explain the concepts. And second thing, some people might be good at communication skills, but they really have this trouble, right? They really have this trouble of forgetting things because they're nervous, right? And because they're nervous, what happens is now they keep forgetting things and they don't know how to explain things. So this will all you will overcome only when you keep repeating the same concepts, right? And thirdly, you might come across a lot of people meeting that, okay, people telling this academy is good, that academy is good, this is happening, that is happening, right? Now that we have come almost 1 month of a journey we have completed, stay focused, right? Ultimately what we want is results. This is no competition of which is good, which is bad. It's all about how you're learning and getting a job. So this disturbance will happen because some of the student came and addressed me in your batch itself, telling that this happened in my PG, things like that and all. So just take it in a light way. People see, initially people will talk anything, but at the end what matters is results. Correct? So I've already given you one solution. Go to them and ask them, place students' mobile numbers. That's it. And when the academy fails to provide place students' mobile numbers, the data and whatever basically we are going ahead and misguidance we are creating, it is just a marketing strategy. Because this will also create a disturbance over the time. Okay, hiring will happen, people are selected, they will never join the company, but the hiring is done. So these are all the strategies, you will keep seeing it. Since I've spent 18 years in this area, not just in the area of teaching, but 18 years I've spent in this BTM area only. I think from last 10 years we are here. Earlier we were just in the opposite building. From last 10 years we are operating. Correct? So last 10 years we have seen everything. Are you understanding? So one is the marketing thing, which initially you will get fear because your friends would be attending interviews initially and you will start panicking. They're attending interview from day one, right? But then they're attending interview. You ask them a question after 2 months and why are you not getting selected? You are attending interview. How many? I attended 10. Then why are you not selected? So this is somewhere we will get scared. Someone attending interview in the beginning, some people might get scared that okay, we should have started the beginning, and what they will do, they will then start hunting for jobs or Naukri here there, and they'll spoil their learning. Okay, so a little bit of patience expected, and I'll not spend my time and energy speaking about these extras things in my class again. Yeah, so today I've mentioned you take it seriously, because for us lot of syllabus we have to cover, and I really don't have so much of time to talk about all these extras things and talk about it. Once I've told, you have to implement or not implement